So he's not comfortable answering those questions. And frankly, in my career, I've only ever had one rule with guests. I can ask anything. Bobby Knight, I declined an interview at ESPN with Bobby. He wouldn't answer the questions I wanted to answer. I love Urban. I've known him forever. Totally respect him. He's not comfortable answering those questions, but I'm not comfortable bringing him on and not asking those questions. I think I have a certain duty and responsibility to the audience behind an Ohio State question to ask Urban Meyer stuff. So I'm good with him. Hopefully he's good with me. He's been great to me through the years, but I can't bring coaches on or anybody on and not have a full slate of questions I can ask, excuse me. And so he's not comfortable. I've been told, here's what I know. I've been told it's his job if he wants it. He's got health issues he's worried about, so I can't speak of those. I think he'd be great. Pete Carroll is what I would say he projects as Pete Carroll a little bit, where first 2 or 3 years he would mop up in the draft because he's recruited all these players. He really has a heartbeat of college football personnel that nobody in the NFL does. He's also a great personnel eye. And he also is going to inherit Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville also has a little bit of a college feel to it more than an NFL town. Miami's a pro sports town. Jacksonville's a college town. I went there for the Super Bowl week. They had high school football was on the front page. So it would be, he has a house in Sarasota. He knows Florida. He coached in Gainesville. So I think it's a perfect fit for him. And I also think that franchise would have a rock star head coach and a rock star at quarterback, and I think they need it. You know, the New York Giants win Super Bowls, and they're boring, and they still fill the stadium. Jacksonville needs something big, some gravitas, and I think Urban is the right coach. But there's health issues. They're real. Years ago when he left Florida, he had a massive weight loss and real issues to deal with. These were not media creations. It was frightening for him. So that's where we stand on that. I was told yesterday that calls were being made assembling a potential staff. I don't know who was making those calls, but it was a staff where there was Urban connections. I was told he was never really interested in the Texas job, which was a rumor. I didn't buy into it. I just didn't think that was going to happen. So that's where we're at with Urban. I wish him luck. I do think Ohio State-Bama is going to be a crazy shootout and all sorts of fun. I know he can't wait to watch that. And I think he would be an absolute home run with Jacksonville and a perfect fit. My only concern with Urban is he doesn't have if you go start looking at Matt Rule and Tom Coughlin and Pete Carroll and Jim Harbaugh, they all had NFL connections while they were in college. They either played, position coaches. Urban's got none of it. He's kind of catching up. And he's spent the last 2 years, catching up on the NFL. But there is a feel to the NFL that is just separate from college. You don't get Troy State. You don't get buys at the right time. Steve Spurrier bombed. Saban struggled. Most college coaches just are out of their element. That part concerns me. But I do think he's an offensive, creative genius, and that's where the sport's going, and he would put together a really good staff. But he wasn't comfortable answering NFL stuff. Totally get it. Maybe he's been offered the job. That's what I've been told. He didn't want to answer it. So, I've got to ask that if he's on. I will say this. Green Bay's win over Chicago. Bear fans are funny. Like, sometimes ask yourself, are you trying to convince other people of something, or are you trying to convince yourself of something? I see that a lot on Twitter with politics. You're not trying to, you think you're trying to convince me of something with Trump. You're trying to convince yourself, okay? I have nothing to do with it. I'm not changing my mind. The Chicago Bear fans, listen, Trubisky had no touchdowns and an interception yesterday against Aaron Rodgers' biggest game of the year. You put him on a stage with Aaron Rodgers, you tell me what it looks like. It's not close. With an offense totally catering to him. He's 1-6 against Green Bay. He is the fourth best quarterback, most talented quarterback in the division. I think Kirk Cousins has more natural throwing talent. You can go 9-6 with him, but it feels very Blake Bortles. The Jags were trying to convince themselves Blake Bortles was something other than just like an average NFL quarterback, and that's what Trubisky is. And Blake Bortles got to an AFC championship, and you can win games when the defense is great. You have a great running back. You have one-star receiver. That's what Blake Bortles had, and a good coach. But Chicago, ask yourself this. Here's the simplest way. On the open market, if Chicago needed a quarterback, would they pursue Mitch Trubisky? No, they wouldn't. Bill Belichick needs a quarterback. He will not pursue Mitch Trubisky. Kyle Shanahan needs a quarterback. They will not pursue Mitch Trubisky. Chicago is trying to validate drafting him so high. And this is what general managers do. They draft it, and then they put pressure on the coach, and they want to validate the pick. And are you in this thing to win Super Bowls or not? I mean, is that what you're here? I mean, I'm not talking. Some owners aren't. They just want to make a profit. But if you're a GM or a coach, you're in it to win it. That's not going to win it. You're not. Aaron Rodgers is going nowhere. So you got 5 more years of Aaron Rodgers. And he and Matt LaFleur get better every game they coach.